Hello there and welcome back to the fourth part of our Liverpool Football Club experiment. So when we last left off Liverpool, they had just been relegated down to League One for the first time since this experiment started. So yeah, if you haven't watched the previous parts, I recommend you go watch that so you can see how they got in this predicament. But other than that, we're going to be going 3 years into the future to the year 2027 to see how they got on in League One. And whether the fact that a lot of their players are on like 20, 30, 40 grand is going to affect them in League One. So I will see you in just a second. Alright, and here we are in the year 2027. So when we left off, Liverpool had just been relegated from the Championship. So if we go down to League One, I don't want to spoil what happened, so if we go down to League One, to go across to be that season. No, next season. So as you can see, first season in League One, they finished 18th, 52 points. They were 7 points clear of relegation, but not really comfortable considering, you know the teams that are in the division. They should have been right up here, you would have thought, around the playoffs. But yeah, only winning 14 games the first season in League One, managing to lose 22, but didn't have a terrible goal difference. Like if you look at these two, minus 36, minus 33, just terrible. But yeah, sort of not great. The next year, they actually got relegated, finishing 22nd on 48 points. So once again, just really terrible. Considering that they managed to spend like 5 years in the Championship as sort of a mid-table side before getting relegated, the fact that in the first 2 years of League One they just survived relegation and then got relegated is a massive letdown for the club, considering that they were rich at one point in the Championship. So we now have to go down to League 2 and see how they did, and they got relegated, bottom of the league. So that means Liverpool are now going to be a non-league club. They actually managed to pick up 9 wins this season, and they managed to finish below Altrincham, Harrogate, Tamworth, Barrow, Southport. So they're all currently non-league teams at the moment, and Liverpool, who are currently a Premier League team, got relegated from League 2 below them in the year 2027. So it's only 10 years in the future. It's not massively long away. If in 10 years' time Liverpool got relegated from the League 2 and Tamworth, Barrow and Harrogate managed to stay up, I'm pretty sure people would be freaking out that that's one of the weirdest 10 years of football you've ever seen. So if we go into Liverpool now and take a more in-depth look at what happened, so if we go to so that's the season where we left off, where they got relegated from the Championship. So in League One, yeah, just really inconsistent that season. They had an alright middle of the season here, 4 wins, a draw, 2 losses, but for the most part, just other than lots of losses building up, just really struggling to really get sort of wins on the board. So the next season, it was even worse. So just the poor start. So they actually managed to improve at the end. So they must have been bottom of the league for ages, and then they improved at the end, but just not enough to stay up, unfortunately. So then this season just gone, I think that's one of the worst seasons I've ever seen in Football Manager ever, and it's just not great at all. 9 wins on the board is just terrible. I mean, I don't know what else to say to that. I mean, they're not selling out the Dalglish Stadium at all. 11,000 and they're getting 611. How much has that dropped in recent years? So they were getting 2,000 for Bolton, 1,000 there, 1,299 against Coventry, 719 against Leyton Orient. So Yeah, Wycombe Wanderers in League One, 542. In the Championship, they were getting better numbers in the Championship, but not massively. Have a look at the transfers then. So that's the season we left. They brought in Mutha Sebatoy. So he actually left to go to Sunderland the next season. So quite a few players left. So they're bringing in a decent amount of money, 5.5 million altogether, because Kiro Vela went to Middlesbrough, Tarek Fosu went to Blackburn, Mark Roberts went to Fulham, and they brought in 110k. So they brought in Mark Bowler from Ebbsfleet, 2 players on loan from Watford, and a bunch of frees coming in. I don't really recognise any of those names there, so I can't really get anything from that. The season afterwards, this is the season they got relegated from League One. They brought in Spencer Owen. Look at that, there you go. So they brought in Spencer Owen, yeah, centre back as well. I think like Spencer FC. So you know, big signings coming in from Chesham. Brought in Adam Hibbert from Wrexham, Michael Leather Hazelhurst, which is a great name, from Tranmere Rovers, so local team. Ooh, there's going to be a derby next year. That'll be interesting to see. So Tranmere are in the National League as well. Richard Ferguson from Stockport, Mark Lloyd from Reading, and Ryan Giles from Barnet. Yeah, not everybody else was brought in on a free or on loan. So yeah, they're buying a lot of like non-league players, even though they had a 2-star reputation. They're bringing in non-league players. Mamadou Sakho finally retired after playing for free for God knows how many years, like almost 10 years. They sold Darren Hodges to Chesterfield for up to 600k. They released quite a few players, including Cameron Brannigan, who is now at Leeds, and 2 players went out on loan. And then this season was just loan players. I don't reckon loan players. They're all going to be regens at this point, and they didn't really bring in any money either. So Spencer Owen was released. Michael Leather Hazelhurst went on loan to AFC Fylde, who are in the National League. So really just not great there at all. If you have a look at their finances, see what's going on there. So they've got 3,947 reputation. So in the National League, they're going to be one of the highest reputation teams. So they should be able to bring in better players than your standard National League side. But in terms of finances, they are in debt, and their wage budget has been cut significantly since the last time we looked at it. And their facilities, they haven't touched them, obviously, because of what's going on. And the stadium condition is getting worse. So really, destroying Liverpool is taken a bit longer than maybe I would have expected. But it has happened. Lazar Markovic is still there on a free. Not earning any money at all. So that's good. Can we edit his contract details? Yeah, he's earning nothing. That's just bonuses. Oh, okay, so he makes 25 grand an appearance. No wonder they're in debt. That's a lot of money at this level. It's just really terrible. So they've lost a lot of their affiliate clubs, and they'll lose AFC Fylde as an affiliate next season because they'll be in the same league. So that's not good. Yeah, they've not really done well in competitions either. So as we saw in schedule, if we just get rid of the league in everything, as you can see here, let's get rid of the friendlies as well. Went out in the League Cup first round, FA Cup first round, and in the group stages of the Checker Trade. Went out in the FA Cup first round to Tranmere as well, so local rivalry there. So they managed to get a draw at Dalglish Stadium, but went to Pretton Park and lost 1-0. They managed to actually get out of the group in the checker trade, losing to the Burnley under-23s, and went out in the League Cup first round to Port Vale. And the year before that, once again, beat Barrow in the FA Cup first round, lost to Southend in the second round, and lost all the games in the group stages of the EFL Trophy. So really, really poor. They've really had like a good cup run at any point to give the fans something to cheer about, which is, you know, a massive, massive disappointment for anybody who supports Liverpool. They've actually got a new chairman, so there was a takeover, obviously. So we have a look at that. When did that happen? Okay, so that happened early this season. So Steven Gerrard left as owner after about 10 years in control, and was replaced by Richard Warburton. Yeah, other than that, there's not really much has happened since we were last here. They were relegated from League One. Lazar Markovic became captain. Who's been their managers over this time? So when last we left off, they had Mark Mosley. He was sacked. They then brought in Bartek Silwestrax. I'm just going to go with that. Who didn't do great. Was he the guy? No, he was not the guy who got Aston Villa relegated, because I noticed that earlier Aston Villa had been relegated to League One, which will please all the Birmingham fans watching this. He seems decent for League One level. They then brought in Harry Kewell, who they then sacked again. He should have been really good at that level. I'm surprised he wasn't. The fact he went from managing Watford in the Premiership for 5 years to Liverpool in League One is quite a step down, and to get sacked as well. And then they brought in this new guy, Matthew Bloxham, who is still the current manager. He's not been there long, only been there 37 days. So they're probably already relegated when he came in, so they were thinking about the conference with this in mind. He were decent in the conference, I think. I think they've probably got, if they can sort out the finances, they have a good chance of coming back up. I think that's going to be when they start getting promotions again. This is still going to be called destroying Liverpool, but it'll be about seeing how far they can then go on in the future. So this experiment could go on for quite a while. It could end up being like 2050, when they've been sitting in the Championship for another like 10 years, and you think they're never going to get any higher than this. So yeah, I think we'll probably leave it there. They still have massive loan debt, which isn't helping. High season ticket prices and no season ticket holders. So, not doing great there. Oh, he's retired now. Okay. Yeah, they've not really played any of these teams since the start of the experiment. They're actually finished 11th and they finished bottom. That's terrible. That is really, really bad. If we go through the squad quickly, actually, I almost forgot to do this. So yeah, Markovic has played 48 games. He's their captain, so obviously playing the most is kind of expected. Followed by Richard Ferguson as an attacking midfielder. Duarte Tome, Gary O'Donnell, Frank Buffo, Gary Jepson, Adam Hibbert, Jack Dunn, Jeff Sparks, and David Smith, rounding out the top appearance makers. But yeah, a lot of someone like Rob Dealey is basically a super sub. 28 sub appearances, 8 starts, but if you look at average rating, yeah, only Lazar Markovic gets above a 7. A lot of people are just mid 6s, which is sort of relegation team. They just sort of never have a good game. They're just always, there. Or if they do have a good game, they're going to follow it up with a really, really terrible game. They're still playing the 4-2-3-1 formation, which hasn't worked for them so far. They've just keep getting relegated, so they might need to think about changing that. Any news? So he won Player of the Year at Liverpool, which isn't surprising. But I mean, other than that, I suppose that's really about it. I will see you for the next part where we'll see them in the National League. So I will see you later. Bye bye.